The sun rose over the endless desert, casting long shadows across golden dunes that seemed to stretch forever. Myra wiped the sweat from her brow and scanned the horizon. She had spent weeks here, following the whispers of an ancient map that hinted at something hidden beneath the sands. Today, she hoped her efforts would finally pay off. Her team of explorers moved carefully, their boots sinking into soft sand. Among them were Taro, a skilled engineer, and Lila, a linguist who could decipher almost any code. Together, they had uncovered strange markings that did not match any known civilization. The markings pointed to a location where the sand seemed slightly disturbed, almost alive. After hours of digging, their tools struck something solid. Excitement spread through the group as they cleared the remaining sand, revealing the edge of a massive stone structure. Its surface was smooth, unlike any natural rock, and covered with intricate carvings. The carvings depicted strange creatures, star-like symbols, and lines that seemed to connect in ways no human had ever imagined. Myra ran her fingers over the stone, feeling a vibration beneath her touch. It was faint but undeniable. "This is it," she whispered. "This is what we were looking for." Taro and Lila leaned closer, eyes wide. The stone hummed as if it recognized their presence. As they explored the opening, they noticed a doorway unlike any other. It was enormous, framed with massive columns carved into the shapes of creatures with glowing eyes. The entrance seemed to pulse with energy. Myra felt a shiver run down her spine. "It feels alive," she said quietly. With careful steps, the team entered the chamber. Inside, the air was cool and still. The walls were lined with more carvings, and in the center, a large platform rose from the floor. It was covered with symbols that glowed faintly, illuminating the room in soft golden light. Every step they took echoed as if the chamber itself was listening. Lila examined the carvings. "These are not just decorative," she said. "They are instructions, warnings, or perhaps a message. But from whom? And why here?" Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled. Small lights flickered along the carvings, moving like fireflies. The platform began to rise slowly, revealing a staircase leading deeper underground. Myra's heart raced. They were about to uncover something no human had ever seen. As they descended, the air grew cooler, and the walls seemed to close in slightly. The carvings became more complex, showing figures carrying objects, symbols of stars, and creatures unlike anything in the natural world. Taro examined a panel with his scanning device. "These readings are off the charts," he said. "This is not just an ancient tomb. It is some kind of machine, older than anything we know." Myra felt a mix of fear and excitement. She had studied ancient history her entire life, but nothing had prepared her for this. Every instinct told her to be careful, but curiosity pushed her forward. "We need to document everything," she said. "This could change how we understand history forever." At the bottom of the stairs, they entered a vast hall. The ceiling was impossibly high, disappearing into shadows. The carvings here were even stranger, depicting humans and creatures interacting with what looked like glowing orbs and beams of light. In the center of the hall was a large doorway shaped like a star. The symbols around it seemed to pulse in rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. Taro approached cautiously and touched the symbols. The moment his hand made contact, the doorway began to open, revealing a chamber filled with a bright, blinding light. Myra shielded her eyes, feeling an energy unlike anything she had experienced. The air hummed with a strange power, and she could sense that the chamber held secrets beyond imagination. Lila whispered, "These carvings, they speak of curses." 10,000 curses, they say. But I do not think they are what we think. These might be warnings, not threats. Myra nodded. She understood. The Pharaoh, whoever he was, had left a message for those who dared to enter. This chamber was not a tomb. It was a test. And humanity had just stepped into it. As they crossed the threshold, the light enveloped them, and the chamber seemed to come alive. The walls shifted, the symbols rearranged themselves, and the air was filled with a low, humming tone. Myra felt both fear and determination. They had entered the Pharaoh's chamber, and the first steps of an incredible journey had begun. Above the desert, the sun continued to rise, casting golden light across the sands. To any observer, it looked like an ordinary day. But below, humanity was waking something that had been sleeping for thousands of years. The Pharaoh's chamber of 10,000 curses had opened, and no one knew what lay ahead. The light in the chamber slowly dimmed, revealing walls covered with moving symbols. Myra blinked, trying to focus on what was happening. The chamber was alive, not in a simple way, but as if it had its own consciousness. Each carving shifted slightly, forming patterns that seemed to tell a story. Taro stepped forward, scanning the walls with his portable device. "These symbols are not static," he said. "They respond to us. It is as if the chamber is aware of our presence." Lila's eyes widened. "I think the Pharaoh left instructions for those who would come after him. These are warnings, yes, but also a message. Whoever created this had knowledge far beyond what we understand." As they moved deeper, the floor beneath them began to hum. A soft vibration ran through their boots, gentle at first, then stronger. The chamber was not merely a room, it was a mechanism. Myra realized that this was no ordinary tomb. This was a gateway, a place designed to test those who entered. Suddenly, the ceiling above them opened slightly, and a beam of light shot down, forming a holographic figure. The figure was tall and regal, dressed in robes of gold that seemed to float. Its eyes glowed like stars. Myra felt a shiver run down her spine. "Humans," the figure spoke, its voice echoing in the hall. "You have awakened the Pharaoh's chamber. Few have dared. Fewer have survived. The trial begins now. Those who fail shall bring their world to ruin. Those who succeed shall rise among the stars." Myra stepped forward, feeling both fear and courage. "We accept the trial," she said firmly. Her voice carried across the chamber. "We are ready." The figure nodded. "Then listen carefully. 10,000 challenges await. They are not curses in the way you know. They test courage, wisdom, and unity. They measure the heart of a species. Step forward, and the first trial will begin." A section of the floor slid open, revealing a corridor lined with strange, glowing panels. Each panel displayed a different symbol, constantly changing. Myra felt her pulse quicken. The trial had already begun, and they had only just entered. Taro examined the panels. "These are advanced puzzles," he said. "They are not dangerous if we think carefully. But one wrong step, and the chamber will react. It is designed to test intelligence and cooperation." Lila pointed to one panel. "Look. It responds to touch. Maybe we need to match the symbols with our understanding of patterns, like a code." Myra nodded and touched the first panel. Instantly, the floor beneath them shifted. They were no longer walking in a straight corridor. The walls rotated, creating new pathways, and the panels rearranged themselves. Each movement demanded attention, focus, and teamwork. Hours passed as the team solved puzzles, avoided shifting traps, and deciphered strange symbols. They discovered that the Pharaoh's chamber was designed not to harm the body but to challenge the mind and spirit. Every time they solved a puzzle, the chamber seemed to grow warmer, brighter, as if it acknowledged their success. At one point, Myra reached a panel that glowed brighter than the others. Touching it caused a holographic map to appear above them, showing a network of stars and planets. Lila studied it carefully. "This is not just a chamber on Earth," she said. "It is a map to the galaxy. The Pharaoh was connected to something much larger than we ever imagined." Taro frowned. "But why seal it on Earth? Why leave warnings instead of instructions?" The holographic figure reappeared. "The Pharaoh failed the trial," it said. "He could not complete the challenges. To protect your world, he hid the chamber and left warnings. Now, the trial returns. Will humanity succeed where he failed?" Myra felt a heavy responsibility settle on her shoulders. This was more than exploration. It was a test of their entire species. "We must succeed," she said quietly. "Not just for us, but for everyone on Earth." The chamber responded to her words. A door at the end of the corridor opened, revealing a new area. Unlike the first corridor, this place was vast, like an underground city. Strange machines hovered in the air, and pillars of light rose from the floor, creating patterns that shifted constantly. The first challenge was over, but the trial had only just begun. The team exchanged determined glances. Myra led them forward, feeling the pulse of the chamber beneath her feet. Each step carried them deeper into the Pharaoh's secret world. They did not know what awaited them, but they knew one thing clearly: they could not fail. Outside, the desert sun continued to blaze. To the world above, nothing had changed. But beneath the sands, humanity had begun a journey that would test its courage, intelligence, and unity. The Pharaoh's chamber of 10,000 curses was awakening its full power, and every trial ahead would reveal the true strength of those who dared to enter. The underground city was unlike anything Myra had ever seen. Towering pillars of light stretched toward a ceiling that seemed to vanish into darkness. Hovering machines moved silently, scanning the walls, the floor, and the explorers themselves. Each movement felt watched, as if the chamber was testing their awareness. "This place, it feels alive," Taro whispered. "It reacts to us, changes when we move. We need to stay alert." Lila nodded, eyes wide as she studied the glowing patterns. "Every symbol, every light, is part of a puzzle. The Pharaoh's trial is not just physical. It challenges our thinking, our teamwork, and our courage." Myra led the way down a wide corridor formed by shifting walls of light. She felt her heartbeat quicken with both excitement and fear. The first trials had been puzzles and pathways, but this part of the chamber felt different. It was testing them in ways she could not yet understand. Suddenly, the floor trembled, and a section of the corridor split open, revealing a deep pit. The walls of the pit were smooth and vertical, with no visible way to cross. Taro stepped back. "We need to find a way across," he said. "The chamber won't allow us to just jump." Lila examined the glowing panels nearby. "The symbols are moving in a sequence. Look at the pattern. Maybe we need to follow it to create a path." Myra studied the sequence carefully. She realized that each symbol corresponded to a section of the floor. Stepping on the correct symbols in order caused a bridge of light to appear across the pit. She took a deep breath and stepped forward. One by one, the bridge formed under her feet. Her team followed carefully, matching her steps exactly. When they reached the other side, the bridge disappeared. Myra turned to see the pit had closed entirely. The chamber was teaching them precision, patience, and attention. Each trial was a reflection of their ability to work together. As they moved deeper, the chamber shifted again. The walls of the corridor opened into a vast hall filled with floating cubes of light. Each cube contained a different scene: deserts, oceans, mountains, cities, and stars. The cubes rotated slowly, showing possible futures, past civilizations, and glimpses of unknown worlds. "Are these visions?" Taro asked, awe in his voice. "Or are they memories of the Pharaoh?" Lila shook her head. "I think these are lessons. The Pharaoh is showing us how civilizations rise and fall. He is warning us about the choices we make, and what happens when a species fails to act wisely." Myra approached a cube that glowed brighter than the rest. She reached out, and the cube expanded, enveloping her in a shimmering light. In an instant, she was standing in a city of golden buildings, seeing humans and strange creatures working together. The air vibrated with harmony, and she understood a truth: success required not just intelligence, but cooperation, courage, and heart. The light faded, returning her to the hall. She felt a new determination. "We have to move forward," she said. "This trial is teaching us. It is not meant to destroy us, but to prepare us." As they pressed on, the chamber grew more challenging. Gravity shifted unexpectedly, making steps difficult. Floating platforms moved in intricate patterns, requiring timing and trust. The team had to coordinate perfectly to avoid falling or triggering traps. Every small mistake caused the chamber to react with light and sound, as if warning them to focus. Hours passed, but the team did not falter. Each trial was harder than the last, yet their teamwork improved. Taro discovered that the machines themselves could be influenced by touch, Lila found patterns in the moving lights, and Myra guided the team with calm precision. Together, they began to understand the true nature of the Pharaoh's trial. Finally, they reached a chamber filled with golden doors. Each door was engraved with symbols representing virtues: courage, wisdom, unity, and resilience. The holographic figure appeared again, glowing brightly. "You have reached the first great choice," it said. "Each door leads to a different path of the trial. Choose wisely, for your path will shape the challenges ahead. The Pharaoh's test is not just about solving puzzles. It is about understanding the strength of your species." Myra looked at the doors carefully. She felt the weight of responsibility pressing down. "We must choose the path that tests all of us together," she said. "Not just one skill, but our courage, wisdom, and unity combined." The team nodded. Together, they stepped toward the door engraved with all four virtues. The chamber reacted immediately, golden light swirling around them, lifting them off the floor slightly. The door opened, revealing a tunnel filled with even more glowing symbols, shifting pathways, and floating platforms. Myra felt a mix of fear and determination. The Pharaoh's trial was growing harder, but she knew that each challenge had a purpose. Every puzzle, every vision, every shift in the chamber was preparing humanity for something greater. As they stepped into the tunnel, the walls pulsed with light, and the air hummed with power. The Pharaoh's chamber of 10,000 curses was alive and watching. Myra, Taro, and Lila moved forward together, ready to face the trials that awaited deeper within the ancient, mysterious world. The tunnel led them to a vast chamber that felt older than time itself. The walls glowed faintly with inscriptions that shimmered like molten gold. Myra stepped forward, her hand brushing against the surface. The carvings pulsed under her touch, as if responding to her presence. She realized that the chamber was more than a series of puzzles, it was a record, a message left by the pharaoh for those who would come after him. Taro examined a series of panels on the wall. "These are like memories," he said. "They show events, people, and strange machines. But they are not human. This chamber was created with knowledge far beyond anything on earth." Lila nodded. "Look at these symbols. They show a ruler, a pharaoh, standing among beings from other worlds. It is not just mythology. The pharaoh was part of something greater. He was chosen for a trial beyond earth." Myra's eyes widened. "Do you mean the pharaoh was not just a king of Egypt? He was part of a galactic challenge?" The chamber seemed to respond. Light shifted along the walls, forming a glowing figure. It was the hologram of the pharaoh himself. His golden robes shimmered, and his eyes glowed with quiet wisdom. "I was chosen long ago," the figure said. "The trial is older than your species. I failed, and my people suffered for it. The chamber is sealed not to punish, but to protect. Those who follow must face the trial anew." Myra took a deep breath. "We are here to succeed. We cannot fail. Not for ourselves, but for everyone on earth." The pharaoh's hologram tilted his head. "Few have understood the purpose. This chamber is not a tomb, and the curses are not what you fear. They are tests. 10,000 trials of courage, wisdom, and unity. Many civilizations have tried and failed. Their worlds fell. Your species now faces the same choice, to rise or to vanish." Taro stepped forward. "Then the warnings we read were not threats. They were guidance. The pharaoh tried to prepare future generations for this moment." The chamber pulsed, and a section of the wall opened, revealing a series of platforms suspended over an abyss. Each platform was etched with glowing symbols, changing constantly. Myra felt the hum of energy beneath her feet. The trial was growing more demanding. "We must be careful," Lila said. "Each step could be a test, each choice a challenge. The chamber will react to mistakes." They began moving across the platforms. The symbols shifted under their feet, demanding attention and thought. One wrong move, and the platform could vanish. Myra felt her heart race but kept her focus. Taro and Lila followed, their movements precise and synchronized. As they crossed, visions appeared in the air around them. Cities burning, oceans rising, civilizations collapsing. Myra felt the weight of every failure shown. "The pharaoh is showing us what happens when a species cannot rise to its potential," she said quietly. "We have to succeed, no matter the cost." Lila nodded. "It is not about fear. It is about understanding. Every trial teaches us something important. We must learn quickly." At the end of the platforms, they entered a chamber filled with light beams crossing in complex patterns. Each beam represented a path, a choice. Myra understood that this was a test of unity. To navigate it, they had to move together, communicate perfectly, and trust each other completely. Taro extended his hand. "We can do this. We have worked together through every challenge so far. We will not fail now." Step by step, they moved through the beams, avoiding traps, matching the patterns, and staying in sync. The chamber responded positively. The light grew warmer, brighter, as if recognizing their unity and determination. Finally, they reached a central platform where the pharaoh's hologram appeared once more. "You have learned the first lesson," he said. "The trial is not just about strength or intelligence. It is about understanding who you are as a species. You have begun to see the path to greatness, but many challenges remain. The true trial begins now. Myra looked at her team. We can do this. We are learning, growing stronger, and working together. The Pharaoh's chamber will not defeat us. The chamber shifted again, revealing a massive doorway etched with symbols representing knowledge, courage, and unity. The trial was far from over, but Myra felt hope. The Pharaoh had failed long ago, but humanity had a chance to succeed where he could not. As they stepped toward the doorway, the chamber hummed, lights flowing around them like rivers of gold. The Pharaoh's chamber of 10,000 curses had revealed its first secrets, and the explorers understood that they were part of something far greater than themselves. They were no longer just humans exploring a tomb. They were candidates in an ancient trial, chosen by a pharaoh who had once failed, now giving humanity the chance to rise. Myra took a deep breath, feeling both fear and excitement. Every step forward brought new challenges, but also new understanding. The true journey had only just begun, and the fate of their world depended on what lay ahead in the next trials. The chamber seemed to grow larger with every step. The walls shimmered with patterns of gold and blue light, moving like water. Myra, Taro, and Lila felt a strange weight in the air, as if the chamber itself were testing their patience and endurance. Every breath they took seemed to echo in the immense space. This place is endless, Taro whispered, his eyes scanning the shifting walls. It keeps changing. I do not know how we can predict what comes next. Lila shook her head. That is the point. The Pharaoh's trial is designed to challenge not just our minds, but our spirit. We must stay focused, work together, and never give in to fear. They moved forward carefully, their steps guided by glowing symbols on the floor. Each symbol responded to their touch, lighting up in sequence, but one wrong step caused the light to dim and the floor beneath them to shift. Myra's pulse quickened every time the floor trembled. She realized that this was the first trial that demanded complete attention and teamwork simultaneously. Hours passed, and the chamber grew more difficult. Gravity shifted unpredictably, forcing them to cling to walls or jump between floating platforms. Each move required trust, timing, and courage. Taro discovered that some of the platforms could be stabilized by pressing panels in a certain order. Lila noticed that the symbols moved in repeating patterns if watched carefully. Together, they found a rhythm, a way to anticipate the chamber's challenges. Suddenly, the walls displayed visions of lost civilizations. Cities crumbled, oceans swallowed lands, and empires vanished. Myra felt a chill. The Pharaoh was showing them what happens when a species fails the test of courage, wisdom, and unity. These were not illusions meant to scare them, they were lessons. Do you see this? Myra said quietly. The chamber is teaching us about consequences. Every civilization that failed faced destruction. We have to understand this to succeed. Lila nodded. It is not punishment. It is guidance. The Pharaoh wanted future explorers to see the cost of weakness, of disunity, of fear. We must rise above it. As they advanced, the chamber tested them more directly. Holographic obstacles appeared, walls that seemed impassable, beams of light that cut through the air, and shifting platforms that moved faster than they could react. Each challenge demanded patience, courage, and intelligence. Every time they succeeded, the chamber pulsed with warm light, almost as if it recognized their growing strength. At one point, Myra faced a corridor where illusions of her deepest fears appeared. She saw her city in flames, friends lost, and earth consumed by darkness. Her legs trembled, and for a moment, she almost stepped back. Then she remembered the Pharaoh's message, Fear was not the enemy, but a lesson to overcome. She focused, breathed deeply, and stepped forward. The illusions faded, replaced by golden light that bathed the corridor in warmth. Taro and Lila followed, each facing visions of their own fears. They did not speak, but their presence reassured each other. They understood that the trial demanded more than skill, it demanded trust and unity. They were becoming stronger, not just individually, but as a team. Finally, they reached a vast hall filled with pillars of glowing energy. Each pillar emitted a sound, creating a complex melody. The floor shifted beneath them, forming pathways that aligned with the melody. Lila realized that they had to move in harmony with the sound, their steps matching the rhythm of the chamber. "This is it," Myra said. "We have to trust ourselves and each other completely. One mistake, and the chamber will respond. But we can do this." They moved carefully, listening to the melody, watching the light, and communicating without words. Step by step, they crossed the hall, perfectly synchronized. The chamber seemed to pause, the energy settling into a calm glow. They had passed another great challenge. The holographic figure of the Pharaoh appeared once more. "You have reached the breaking point," he said. "Many have failed here. They allowed fear to control them. You have demonstrated courage, wisdom, and unity. But the trial is not over. Greater challenges await. Your species has begun to show its strength, but the true test lies ahead." Myra looked at her team. "We have come this far together. We will continue together. Nothing will break us." Taro and Lila nodded, their determination clear. They had learned to trust each other completely. The chamber could throw illusions, shift gravity, and challenge their minds, but humanity had a strength that could not be measured by technology or puzzles alone. The chamber shifted again, revealing a door carved with symbols of light and unity. Golden energy flowed from the doorway, filling the hall with warmth and hope. Myra stepped forward, feeling the pulse of the chamber beneath her feet. They were ready to face whatever came next. Outside, the desert sun remained bright, ordinary and calm. But beneath the sands, humanity had proven something extraordinary. They had faced fear, worked together, and survived the breaking point. The Pharaoh's chamber of 10,000 curses had tested them, and they had begun to rise. Myra took a deep breath and smiled at her team. The greatest trials were still ahead, but together, they knew they could face anything. The journey through the Pharaoh's chamber was far from over, but humanity's courage had already begun to shine. The chamber seemed to grow quieter after the last trial, yet the air hummed with a new intensity. Myra, Taro, and Lila walked cautiously, their footsteps echoing against the glowing walls. The light from the symbols danced across their faces, casting long shadows that seemed almost alive. Every corner they turned, every step they took, felt like moving deeper into the heart of the Pharaoh's design. "This is different," Taro said, glancing around. "It feels more alive than before. The chamber seems to know us now." Lila nodded, her eyes scanning the shifting patterns. "It has watched us succeed and fail. Now it tests our spirit directly. This is not just a puzzle. It is asking us who we are and what we stand for." Myra felt a weight settle on her shoulders. She had never felt such responsibility. Every challenge they had faced so far had been hard, but this felt like the turning point. The chamber was no longer just testing their skills, it was measuring their courage and unity. Suddenly, the walls around them rippled like water, forming moving illusions. Figures appeared, showing cities destroyed by war, floods, and fire. Myra saw images of her friends trapped, Earth threatened, and humanity failing. Her heart clenched. The illusions whispered doubts, urging them to give up, to turn back. Lila reached out and touched Myra's arm. These are just tests. They want us to fear, to doubt. We cannot let that happen. We have to stand strong. Taro swallowed hard. The chamber is trying to break us. Every civilization before us failed here. We cannot make the same mistakes. Myra took a deep breath, forcing herself to focus. Fear is the trial. It is the final barrier. If we let it control us, everything ends. But if we resist, we show the chamber our strength. The illusions intensified, showing endless darkness, collapsing mountains, and oceans swallowing cities. Myra felt a pull at her courage, a pressure to surrender. She gritted her teeth, looked at her team, and held out her hand. We face this together. No fear. No doubt. We are stronger than this chamber thinks. The chamber responded. The illusions faltered, the shadows wavered, and the walls pulsed with golden light. Step by step, they moved forward, holding hands, trusting each other completely. Every flicker of fear they felt was replaced by determination. The energy around them seemed to bend to their courage. Finally, they reached the center of the chamber, a vast platform surrounded by a swirling vortex of light. The Pharaoh's holographic figure appeared, glowing brighter than ever. You have reached the final trial, he said. Many before you could not resist. They let fear control them, and their worlds perished. You have shown courage, wisdom, and unity. Now, humanity must prove it does not yield to despair. Myra stepped forward. We do not bow to fear. We do not surrender to impossible odds. Humanity stands, together, unbroken. The chamber reacted violently. The light surged, shifting pathways and beams, creating impossible challenges. Yet Myra, Taro, and Lila moved with clarity and purpose. They avoided every trap, solved every shifting puzzle, and ignored every illusion meant to frighten them. Their unity became their shield, their courage a weapon against the chamber's attempts to intimidate them. Hours passed in a blur of light and motion. The chamber tested every part of them, but they did not falter. Myra felt the energy around them soften, almost like the chamber was watching and acknowledging their resilience. They were not just surviving, they were conquering the Pharaoh's test with heart and determination. Finally, the vortex of light settled. The chamber became still, peaceful, and warm. The holographic Pharaoh smiled, his eyes glowing with quiet approval. You have done what no other civilization has achieved. You have faced fear, challenge, and despair, and you have refused to yield. Humanity is ready. Myra felt relief and pride wash over her. She turned to Taro and Lila. We did it. Together, we succeeded where so many failed. Taro smiled, exhaustion and joy on his face. We have passed the trial. The Pharaoh's chamber recognizes our strength. Lila added softly, it is more than skill or knowledge. It is our unity, our courage, and our refusal to give up that has carried us through. The walls of the chamber shifted one last time, opening a doorway filled with golden light. Beyond it lay a vast hall of stars, planets, and galaxies, shimmering like a vision of the universe itself. Myra realized the trial had not just been about surviving the chamber. It was about proving humanity's place among the stars. As they stepped forward together, Myra felt hope and determination. The Pharaoh's chamber of 10,000 curses had been conquered, not through force, but through courage, wisdom, and unity. Humanity had passed where countless civilizations had failed. Outside, the desert remained silent, golden, and ordinary. Yet beneath the sands, something extraordinary had occurred. Humanity had faced the impossible and emerged unbroken. The chamber had tested them to the fullest, and they had shown that no challenge, no illusion, no fear could make them surrender. Myra took a deep breath, feeling the pulse of the chamber settle beneath her feet. The trials were over, but the journey had only just begun. Humanity had proven its strength, and the universe had taken notice. The Pharaoh's chamber had awakened something powerful, the realization that humans could stand unbroken, ready to take their place among the stars. The final doorway opened, revealing a vast hall filled with stars that seemed close enough to touch. Myra, Taro, and Lila stepped forward cautiously, their eyes wide with awe. The chamber had transformed completely. What once felt like walls of stone and light was now a gateway to the universe, a vision of galaxies, planets, and worlds beyond imagination. This is incredible," Taro whispered. "I never imagined something like this could exist on Earth." Lila nodded, her hand brushing over a glowing panel. "The Pharaoh left this for those who succeed. This is proof that humanity is ready for more than survival. We are meant to rise, to join others among the stars." Myra took a deep breath, feeling both pride and responsibility. "We passed every trial, every test. We did not give up, and we did not let fear control us. The chamber has recognized us. We have proven ourselves." As they walked further, a circle of light appeared at the center of the hall. Within it, the holographic figure of the Pharaoh materialized one last time. His golden robes shimmered, and his eyes glowed with quiet wisdom. "You have done what no other species has achieved," the figure said. "You have faced the 10,000 curses, the trials of courage, wisdom, and unity. Many civilizations have failed, allowing fear and doubt to destroy them. You have succeeded where others could not. Humanity is ready to step into the greater universe." Myra bowed her head respectfully. "We are grateful for this chance. We understand the responsibility that comes with it. We will not fail." The chamber responded to her words. Light surged, forming pathways of gold and silver leading outward. Myra, Taro, and Lila could see distant worlds, planets filled with cities, oceans, and civilizations they had never imagined. The Pharaoh's chamber had been a test, but it was also a bridge to something far greater. Suddenly, a panel of light extended before them, displaying the form of the Galactic Council. Beings of all shapes and sizes appeared in holographic projection, watching carefully. They had observed humanity's progress from the moment the chamber was awakened. Their eyes glowed with curiosity and respect as they studied the three explorers. The Pharaoh spoke again. "These are your peers in the universe. They are waiting to see if humanity can stand unbroken, as equals among civilizations. Your actions in the chamber have proven your worth." Myra stepped forward, feeling the courage that had carried her through every trial. "We come as representatives of Earth. We have faced the impossible, worked together, and refused to give up. Humanity is ready to join the stars, to learn, to grow, and to contribute." The council members responded with gestures of acknowledgement, their forms shimmering in approval. The air around the chamber hummed with a sense of acceptance and anticipation. Humanity had earned its place. Taro looked at Myra and Lila. "We did it. We have proven ourselves to the universe." Lila smiled, eyes shining. "Not just us. Everyone on Earth. Humanity has shown that we can face fear, challenge, and uncertainty without giving up. That is why we are worthy." The chamber pulsed once more, and the floor beneath them glowed with patterns of light. The stars above seemed to shift closer, as if welcoming them. Myra felt a sense of unity with the universe. The trials had tested everything: courage, wisdom, unity, but they had also prepared humanity to step into its true potential. "You have done well," the Pharaoh said, his voice fading gently. "Remember the lessons of the chamber. Courage is not the absence of fear, wisdom is understanding consequences, and unity is the strength that binds all life together. Carry these truths forward, and humanity will thrive among the stars." Myra, Taro, and Lila clasped hands, feeling the energy of the chamber surround them. Together, they stepped into the circle of light. The moment their feet touched the center, the chamber seemed to dissolve, leaving them floating among the stars. Planets and galaxies stretched endlessly around them, each one filled with possibilities and new worlds to explore. They looked at one another, smiling with a mix of relief and wonder. Humanity had survived the Pharaoh's trials, had overcome fear, and had refused to yield. The chamber's curses had been challenges, not punishments, and humanity had conquered them through heart, mind, and unity. As they prepared to return to Earth, now forever changed, Myra whispered, "This is only the beginning. Humanity has a place in the universe, and we will not waste it. We will rise, learn, and grow, as the Pharaoh intended, and as the chamber demanded." Taro and Lila nodded in agreement, and together they gazed at the endless expanse of stars. The Pharaoh's chamber of 10,000 curses had tested them to their limits, but humanity had emerged stronger, wiser, and ready for the next chapter. The golden desert outside seemed calm and ordinary, but beneath it, humanity had proven something extraordinary. They were no longer just inhabitants of Earth, they were a species capable of standing unbroken among the stars. The trial had ended, the curses had been conquered, and humanity's future in the galaxy had begun.